Sleep systems for camping have evolved from cotton-filled rectangles to extremely light and technical mummy bags and quilts. But the most recent and notable advancement has got to be the Zenbivy. It tries to replace the standard mummy bag with a system that's supposed to mimic your bed at home. But now they're taking it even further with more tech that they say is going to reduce the price while keeping everything about it that you love. So I asked the creator of Zenbivy to come out to my backyard to tell me all of this stuff and a whole lot more. All right, we got Mike here from Zenbivy. He's brought a bunch of Zenbivies and their beds. He calls them beds. They're not sleeping bags. Don't call them a sleeping bag. Don't call it a quilt either, because it's not a quilt. It's a bed. It's a Zenbivy bed. And Mike, tell us who you are. Why are you here? How did you just magically appear in my backyard?
Well, you invited me and I flew here.
That's a fact.
To come into the backyard. I knew this was going to be the place to be for emerging brands in the outdoor industry. You want to come to the Becker backyard?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here. So thank you for inviting me.
Yeah. So people know you. Probably don't know you. They just know the brand.
Yeah, I'm the inventor of the original product and the founder of the business.
Okay.
So, yeah, came up with a new way to approach sleeping as a bed and not as a sleeping bag or a quilt. So there's, even just as a quilt, for those who are unfamiliar with the Zenbivy bed, it's a two-piece system, and it uses a kind of a traditional top quilt. And what really makes it different is that it attaches to the mattress with a sheet, and the quilt and the sheet attach, and it allows the quilt to tuck in. So it's built like a bed at home with covers on top and a sheet below you. And that's the basic gist of the design. But there's seven things that are fundamentally different about a Zenbivy that a lot of people don't know that you might find interesting.
Okay.
Some of them are less interesting than the other. The first is that a Zenbivy has unlike all other quilts, a Zenbivy is purely semi-rectangular. There's no hourglassing in the shape of the quilt. So you don't have any pinch points when you're spinning around inside of it for it to grab. It looks like a traditional, sort of mummy-esque sort of quilt
I
shape.
see what you're saying. Like these are straight lines
it's
here.
It's straight.
Okay, yeah. Versus,
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And that actually, anytime you put a constriction in and then you're rolling around, the bedding will want to grab you and twist on that spot. So every other quilt, when you kind of roll around, it'll tend to grab on that. That's number one. Another advantage of that is on our convertible foot boxes. So this becomes a flat quilt. I think people are familiar with these. We're not the only ones who do this. That you can.
Oh, this is the one that's got like a. You can make this into a blanket, or
it comes completely flat.
Yeah. Okay.
And we're not the only ones to do this, but one of the cool things about ours, if I can just switch with you, is that when you roll this along and when you fold this up and you make it into that semi-rectangular shape at the bottom, it creates what we call an origami baffle. If you look at this line.
It's an origami baffle.
So one weird thing at the bottom of our quilts is you've got this weird draw cord that seems to make this curvy sort of S shape. But the reality is that when you fold this thing into its perfectly flat, tapered design, that line now becomes straight all the way around the bottom. And there's this extra part here that we call the origami baffle. And what it does is it flips in and attaches to the other side.
So you solve the hole.
So when the hole gets pulled in,
so I don't have to stick my sock in there?
No sock. Yeah. It just forces that extra little piece that's caused by the natural folding to cover that hole.
Okay.
That's number two.
That's number two.
Number three is also shown here, which is our zipperless convertible foot box. Every other foot box on the market that converts from a complete flat quilt to a mummy foot box uses zippers, and this uses these overlapping panels on the bottom.
So is this still like the one that I have? I have the one where you stick your feet in it and it's just going to go close on its own. Will it still do that?
No, that's the other. That's number 4. I forget what number we're on.
Number 4.
But that's
we're only on
one.
2, folks, or 3 maybe.
Number 3. So this is that convertible foot box, and it pinches down on the bottom, and then if you look on the inside, that origami baffle is right here covering the little hole. If I undo that snap,
okay,
then you can see the hole.
Oh, we don't want that. We're snapping it.
And so this
Or snap
covers it up, and so that there's no hole on the bottom of that. And the whole thing just works by using overlapping panels on the bottom to create that seal. Doesn't need any zippers at all. That also has the advantages when you go flat. These little overlapping triangles that are here on the bottom make the quilt wider.
Okay.
So most quilts have that double taper and they get smaller down at the at the bottom. And then that's our zipperless convertible foot box.
Convertible.
And then can I grab the
Do
other
you let
one?
your hair down when you're driving the convertible? He didn't think that was funny.
I didn't. Well, it wasn't funny. I would have laughed. So the another design that you won't see on anybody else's is our fast foot box. Normally this would just be a closed foot box on most quilts that would just have a normal bottom on it. And this uses our same 2 overlapping panels, and with a single attachment allows it to really open up. This is
my favorite.
This is the one.
I like this one way better than the other one. I don't not like the other one. I feel like this is for people that are going to spend maybe a little more time in their tent, or maybe want to use this outside of camping. Maybe they want to use this while they're watching TV on the couch, and they can use it like a little blanket or something.
Or they like to walk around and wrap it around them with a blanket, or anybody who's going to use it flat. But I was telling you earlier, there's 2 things I hate about Zenbivy's. One of them is the convertible foot. I don't like, it's not so much the convertible foot box as I don't like the little,
me neither,
looking at the back end of the cat.
You know who else doesn't like it? Emmett.
Oh.
He was telling me how much he hates the little hole at the bottom of it.
Put me on blast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm just not a fan of that, but we came out with it originally because a lot of people like to have that functionality, and with the Zenbivy it really sort of made sense. But this foot box that we came out with last year, I think, is the one to get, because with a single simple attachment you can go from full mummy mode to kind of super wide, but it still has a little spot. When the quilts are really flat, they're very light and they can float away, and it feels like it's very drafty in the feet. So this, to me, I think gives you that nice wide sort of box, and still, sticking your feet in. And obviously this is upside down, and you'd have it this way. And we're looking at the top of it.
Is this the ultralight one?
This one is the ultralight with the Pertex and the 900. So we have them obviously in different builds, and different foot boxes come in each one. But this one, to me, we came out with it a couple of years ago, and I think it's the best.
It's been a couple of years already?
Yeah, well, for me it has. Wow. I guess in the market it's only been, it's been 2 seasons now.
Wow.
2 seasons.
Okay.
Yeah, time's flying and we're getting older.
Yeah,
that's happening.
Yeah.
So
out of foot boxes on any quilt I've ever used, that is my favorite. I do like being able to just, because it almost feels like there is no foot box.
Right. I use it when I clip in the top.
Who came up with that? Did you come up with that?
Yeah. But I didn't come up with all of the inventions. In fact, the next one I'm going to tell you is called the Kylie Curve. And this was invented by Kylie, who's our e-com manager. And the original,
good job, Kylie.
Yeah. The original design had no draw cord at the top, and I was against draw cords. When she first brought up the idea of adding a draw cord, I went, I'm open to that, right? So I was not open to it. I was like, the hood, it tucks in the hood, and the whole idea is you're not drawing strings. I get very sensitive about the strings and adding constriction, and one of the main problems with a draw cord that goes from the top of the edge of the quilt to the other edge of the quilt, like they do on every other one, is when you draw it up, it lifts, well, this one doesn't, but it lifts the whole edge of the quilt off the ground and pulls this up in order to get like a little hook over your shoulder. And all she's done here is shorten the distance that gets scrunched and left these 2 panels on the side that are free to hang down and seal against the mattress. So it allows side sleepers to get this little differential hook over your shoulder, like this. And so when you're sliding around on it, you can move around underneath it, and it the side panels won't lift off the ground and create those drafts that you can with every other one. So it's a patent pending feature. It's only available in our quilts. This is just like people ask about the extra tube. That's just to route this so it's not right in your face. Other people have the cord coming out right here.
Okay. That's the worst.
Right in the middle of your face.
I have said that so many times to companies, like, whoever thought to put the cord there, even, I'm telling you, even if this little toggle is just like right here, like this, it always ends up like, it drives me nuts.
So it's trying to put it off to the side and route all of those strings over to the side. And this allows side sleepers primarily, who are going from side to side to side to side, to not have these little panels come unhooked from or unsealed from the top of the sleeping bag, and it allows you to remain tucked in and eliminates drafts.
Yeah.
So that's 4 or 5, I can't remember where we are.
Yep.
And we haven't talked, and that's just the quilt.
That is just the quilt, folks.
There are a lot of differences.
That's all that was.
Just in
we
our
got a
quilt.
lot of stuff to talk about here.
Yeah. So obviously the big differences though are on how the quilt attaches to the mattress. Essentially what we did is we just kept the best aspects of a quilt, because obviously if it's warm and the quilt is fine, this is it. This is all you need. But what a quilt doesn't do is it can fall off the mattress and leave gaps of cold, which is the biggest problem that people have, is like once they get to a certain temperature, it starts to get drafty and it's too cold. And then you also are sleeping directly on your mattress, which is fine for some people, but other people don't like the feel of sleeping directly on their mattress. It also doesn't give you any kind of headboard or any kind of ending up in the top, which can make your pillow and everything feel like it's unfinished on the top. And that's basically where the sheet comes in. This is a 3/4 length in our light bed. We also have full length sheets in certain ones of our beds, but the 3/4 length is sort of the minimal one.
Which one sells the best?
Still this 3/4 length sells the best, but next year this is our light bed, and our ultralights only come with this. And last year the light beds came with full length sheets, and we've gotten some, let's just call it severe pushback against the half length sheet to certain people who feel like it's too much of a compromise. So it really is a matter of personal preference, and next year we're gonna have the full length sheet and the half length sheet, and we're predicting the full length sheets are gonna outsell the half length sheets.
Oh, okay.
But I don't know, because we guessed at it, because we haven't offered them both side by side. The full length sheet is easier to go on for sure. It doesn't require, like this has 2 straps, and this can kind of switch, and you have to have it tight so it doesn't slide up. There's some advantages to the full length sheet, but it is a good bit heavier and doesn't add any warmth to cover the bottom end of it. The real innovation in it is these side panels. And the original Zenbivy beds tried to do what all 2-piece beds had done at the time, which is try and attach the quilt right to the edge of the mattress. And the problem with that is when you lay on your side, the quilt comes up over your shoulder and down, and it creates these 2 cold spots here, and the quilt can't wrap around you. And what this attachment does is, instead of attaching to the edge of the quilt, we're attaching up here like 10 inches from the edge of the quilt with a hinge. And I'll hook them in on this side to show you how it works. Most of our most popular ones come with clips, but the original Zenbivy bed had zippers, and the new Becker Bed
did you hear that?
Also
he built a Becker Bed. Love it.
Because of some people find the clips work better. So this, you can see the quilt doesn't want to come off, right? Hold that mattress there so I can.
Okay.
So that when I try and pull the quilt off, it stays attached. So when you're laying on this, it won't. This can fly. See how this can move freely, but then it will not fall off the edge of the mattress when it's tucked in. And that's the main thing that makes this work. So quilts normally will have straps and pin this to a certain spot, right? You clip it down and then that's where you go, but it doesn't allow this to move. So this internal side here can really float around on the inside, and so you don't feel like you're pinned to the mattress. Normally when you attach a quilt to the mattress, it adds another kind of constriction that's pinning, and the hinges allow it to float and not pin. And you can hook them up on both sides. One or some,
right?
One or some. Yeah, I normally will do, I've gotten more clippy as I've gotten older and colder.
What did you just say? You get more what?
Older and colder.
No, clippies?
Clippy. I
clip in more. More clippy.
Yeah, I tuck in more than I used to as I'm
I see
to kind of keep it more secure on the
older
inside.
And colder,
but one thing people do say about the clips is that I hear a lot on YouTube from YouTubers is make it hard to get in and out. You can get in and out of it without unclipping. You can just pull it back and slide in and out.
I've learned.
Without doing all of the clips. So the clips are kind of a double-edged sword because they're obviously not as easy as zippers, but they are a lot lighter. And they allow you to have closures on both sides at a real fraction of the weight.
Yeah.
So the two things that you'll see here is, one, the fact that the quilt is unlike straps on a quilt, this eliminates the drafts. We were talking about really cold temperatures. When you have this clipped in, it eliminates the drafts.
Sure. Yeah. There's no drafts.
And with the straps, that minimizes some drafts, but it doesn't eliminate the drafts. And so, and then when you do have others pinned down to the mattress, it pins the quilt there and adds constriction. And a Zenbivy is not pinned. These hinges allow the whole quilt to float on top. So it's tucked in, but it doesn't feel like it's pinning you down to the mattress. And then of course, the final thing is that we put insulation in the hood. We do offer some hoods without insulation, which really perplex people. Because they're like, well, why didn't you just end it here if there's no insulation in the hood?
You want a headboard, right?
But that's not the only reason. The hood is designed to tuck the top of the quilt in. Most quilt drafts happen at the top. And the hood, even if your head is out here, the quilt can tuck in to the hood and eliminate drafts around your shoulder. So that's why we keep them even on the uninsulated ones. Okay. But it does have like a little, to me, this little space in here, this little edge, makes it feel like a complete bed. Okay. You know, and then when we insulate them, they are as warm as a mummy bag. When you get in there, they're thermally as warm as a mummy bag and lighter than a mummy bag for that same weight because they're not using any insulation underneath on the bottom. Okay. So it's the first system that can match and beat a mummy bag in terms of warmth to weight. And the reason it can do that is because the quilt is free to wrap around you.
Sure.
And get those. And whereas normally in a system like this, the quilt is attached to the side of the mattress and you make it big. So like the original Big Agnes system bags, they had to leave enough room for you to get all the way around, so they were big and heavy and not thermally efficient. And they were way heavier than a mummy bag. They were more comfortable, but they were much heavier and bigger. So this is the first one that will match a mummy bag. So what we love about it is you get all the benefits of a quilt, because it is a quilt, and you get all the benefits of a mummy bag without it being a mummy bag, and you can do both. And so one person with one quilt can take it and really have one system that works all 3 seasons. Whereas a lot of quilt people, it's a 2-season thing, and then they have a mummy bag. You were telling me earlier, well, when it gets cold, I switch to the mummy bag because it's cold. And I want to be in the mummy bag. Yeah. So this allows people to be able to transition through all 3 seasons and even into 4 seasons without having to compromise and not having to buy like 20 different quilts in there.
All right. So I have a question for you.
Sure.
So tell me how, let's say I'm in the middle of the night, I'm hot, I don't want this hood.
Just fold it out of the way. If it's in the way, you can just put it like this, and then it's gone. See that? Yeah, that was on another one of your videos, and I'm like, man, if I was just there, I'd say, dude, just move it out of the way.
I was hoping you weren't going to tell me that, because I was going to have my innovative.
Oh, what's your innovative idea?
My innovative idea.
You can't do that. I don't know.
No, like if I because that's a lot of work. I have to sit up. I have to lift up.
No, you
stuff.
don't. You could just lay here and push it over like this. It's not a lot of work.
How come? Why doesn't this? Even if there is insulation in this part, go up a little farther so it just clips again one more time here, so that way I could just move it out of the way instead of having to fold it around.
What?
You're welcome. You're welcome, folks.
Yeah, I love that idea. Explain it to me so I understand it.
So I'm saying like, so this. It's
a great idea, Dad. I just want to start with that.
What do we call this?
That's the hinge.
Okay, the hinge. Why can't we extend the hinge up as far as possible?
Is this not extended?
Yes, but then why can't this instead of have it clip up here, or zip or clip up here?
And what's that going to do for you?
So then I can just move it out of the way instead of having to fold it around. I can just push it away if I don't want it.
what that, I think if I'm understanding, you're just saying make this cut deeper
Yes.
here, so that this is, well, it's the same thing I just talked about. Then it doesn't create a pocket at the top for the thing to tuck into.
This is why I don't design sleeping bags or quilts, folks.
So it could be that if you don't like, most people like to have this and stick their pillow underneath it. That's how I do it. And then it kind of is the pillow holder. Now, of course, we have these other pillow holders that are in the inside. You don't need and you can just tuck this thing out of the way if you don't want to have that, if it's like, feels like too much at that time. But yeah, it could go up.
He was really nice to me through that whole process. Did you see that? That's not bad.
Well, it's funny because it used to be that with the very first, I guess it was not the very first, but the P4 and P3 samples, which are the third and fourth prototypes of the original Zenbivy bed, the hood and the hinges were detached, and there was a little snap here, and they overlapped each other like other little things, and you could do exactly what you were talking about, but I took that out. It was so strange that when we went to first launch it, I was like, I gotta make it look like not so weird. It already looks, I mean, let's face it, it's a weird looking thing. When you first look at it, you're like, I don't know what's going on here with this. And so as you can see over time, it's gotten less and less attachy. Because I was saying the two things I don't like about the Zenbivy, one is I don't like convertible foot boxes, and particularly the rear end of the cat. And the other thing that I don't like is the clips, and having so many, because there's nothing zen about the clips.
Yes, for me, the worst part about it, the clip, is it's 3 a.m. and I gotta pee.
Yeah, but let's just.
No, yeah, I understand, yes.
Out.
I understand.
People unclip it and then they flip it open and let all their heat out or whatever. I'm an expert of getting up in the middle of the night. To go enjoy nature in the middle of the night.
But if I do gotta unclip it, it's just finding it and fiddling with it. It's minor. Yeah. Minor.
It's definitely more fussy than zippers. There's no doubt about it. They're just a lot lighter than zippers, and that's why the vast majority now in fact, we're down to selling virtually very few beds that have zippers, and we're going to rejuvenate that with the Becker Bed. That's for 2020.
Bringing back the Becker Bed, baby.
25. I'll show it to you. So this one is the Becker Bed, and ignore the color because we're not doing this color. This is a prototype.
You didn't make my color?
Well, we didn't know your color. We had to come here, show you the bed, make sure.
I did not know they were making this.
Expectations.
Just throwing that out there. This is
because every time I see you on YouTube, you're like, I wish I had zippers. I'm like, all right, make one for Dan Becker. Wish he had zippers. If he wishes he had zippers, other people are going to wish they had zippers.
That's right.
And it is to me like just in wanting to make it more approachable and more just available to everybody. I do think having a much lighter zippered version is.
So this is a much lighter zippered version. Is that what you're telling me?
Than our original Zenbivy bed. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
So this is a long sheet on a short mattress, but
long sheet on a short mattress.
So here you can see what the full length sheet looks like, and this is now identical to what you've seen before, except along this edge.
This is a different material.
Yeah.
I like this.
Yeah, you do. It's the Becker Bed.
Yeah. This feels like
cotton sheet.
Kinda, almost, yeah.
Almost. It's not a cotton sheet, but it's
I mean, this is different.
That's it. So to us, see, I'm glad you brought these up because these are the things that are so hard for us to show on the internet. Is that this is our legendary now 50D Pongee. This is a special fabric weave.
It's hard to describe. This is.
Here's how I describe it. Tell me if this works. This outer shell feels like a shell jacket, a nice soft shell jacket, right? But like a shell jacket. Sure. This is where it turns from going from like nylon jacket to fabric. And it feels like
you've just entered the realm of fabric.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
From like a shell jacket to a liner, and it's not the lightest fabric that we use, but it makes the inside of the bed really feel nice. Like it's lined with, well, it's polyester, but it's meant to feel like a cotton sheet.
Yeah.
I mean, it's feeling like bedding and not sleeping bag.
It does not totally feel like a cotton sheet, but it's much more cottony feeling than this. That's for sure. Like a standard, like a any other quilt or mummy bag I've ever slept in.
And this design used to have that pongee here where it doesn't touch you, which was just adding weight, and we've removed that. It used to have pongee all the way along the inside. We've removed that to get the, because this is 63 grams per meter versus 37 grams per meter for our shell. So it's, or maybe it's 57 grams for the pongee and 37 grams. I don't do specs. You and I,
Me neither. I don't
do specs.
I don't do specs, folks. We don't do specs.
It's something. It's lighter.
Yeah, I'm going to put it up on the screen.
It's not light. So we've really minimized where it is, so it's just on the touch points that are most important, on your head, underneath, and just use the lighter fabric elsewhere to get the weight down. And that's how this is, because our Zenbivy beds were, with the zippered versions, were kind of chunky for backpacking by today's standards. And so it just makes it a lot lighter. And then the quilt uses that same fast foot box that we talked about with the single attachment, not shown here for whatever reason, because it's not on this bed. And then this allows you to use, it doesn't have our awesome, I wish it had our little hand-tied, you haven't seen our little Zenbivy hand-tied?
You'll
see it.
Yeah, I'm not buying it now.
Doesn't have it on there.
Yeah.
But obviously that's a little quicker than the zippers.
Yeah.
And you can use it at any point along the way. They are locking zippers. You know what those are?
Oh, yeah.
So it uses a locking zipper, so you can set it anywhere along the way and it won't unlock and unslide open.
Do you need a key?
No, but you do need to pull on the little thing for it to work. And so, yeah, you need to pull on it. If you just try and spread it open, like it won't spread open because it's locked.
I'm liking the zipper.
Yeah, yeah, I do think that adding that having a zippered version, because it feels like everything has sort of gone to the clips, and I do think there's, you know, a simplicity and a familiarity with the zippers.
Totally. Yeah.
Just makes it, I think, a little bit more
cozy,
approachable.
Yeah.
You know, and feels like it's like, well,
that's the right word. I think approachable. A lot of people are thrown off by
the hooks are kind of I don't know if they're intimidating, but they look and are fussier than a zipper. The mummy people who are coming to a bed are like, where's my zipper?
So you didn't talk about your mattress yet.
No, yeah, I can show you the mattress.
You want to mention your mattress?
We should, especially since it's the only air mattress that uses, the one you have here is not the one that I think you've tested.
No.
You tested the Ultralight.
Yeah, I got the Ultralight one.
Which is basically the same exact mattress as this, except instead of, this one uses a 4-way stretch knit on the top. Yours has not this exact fabric, but very similar to this fabric on both sides. And it's a little bit lighter. This adds about, I think, 3 ounces to get this stretch fabric. And to me, it's a huge difference.
Why?
Because you know, when you take air mattress and you fill it up hard, it gets hard.
Yeah.
And this is not hard. It gets softer. So this one, even more than yours, needs to be inflated really hard. The softness comes from the fact that there's these little chambers here that are soft. That's your softness. The rest of it needs to be really hard. And then that separates the 2 layers of mylar.
So as a person who's hearing almost inflate it till you can't inflate it anymore, I got a feeling they're probably thinking that it's going to feel like rock hard and firm, but you're saying it's not.
I'm saying it's not.
Okay, all right.
I do think that if you're one of those who likes the waterbed feel, like it's like you take your light mattress. We have another one called the light mattress that's more traditional with vertical tubes.
Yep.
And like when I used to sleep in that one, I would, you know, waterbed it and get it really soft, and so that I'm way kind of down into it. And so if you like them really soft, this is probably not the mattress. It's like if you blow this up hard and it's not soft enough, it's not the right mattress for you.
Okay. All right.
I think it really, for this style to perform, they need to be hard.
We talked about this before, but when I used the other one, the lighter one, and I laid on my side, my hips hit the ground underneath. And what is the fix to overinflate? You don't
More
think I had
pressure.
You don't think I had it inflated enough?
I don't.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think, and if you're hitting on the bottom, the other disadvantage of this style, they look like they're welded through. Like this dot is welded to the bottom fabric.
Yeah, they're not. They're
but
opposite.
they're not. They're opposite from one another, and there's a layer of urethane. There's
dot
3
here,
layers in there.
Not dot there.
Right.
It's over here.
So, and then in between there's 2 layers of Mylar that are suspended. Well, it's only if you lose one of those layers, you lose the warmth of that too. So it's another reason. There's another, you know, the red-haired guy, the YouTuber.
Jeremiah?
No, he used to do backpacking TV. I don't know why his name is.
Oh, Eric.
Yes, Eric Hansen. Yeah. You know him, right? I know him well. I just couldn't get him. I'm just this kid, you know,
that's
camera
awesome.
shy or whatever. He noticed
the crazy redheaded guy.
Yeah, you know
Eric.
that guy?
You are a
He
crazy
does things in
redheaded
his
guy.
basement.
He's gonna love that.
But he had his soft and was cold, and I think he was dead on there. That
You should have an inflation valve, like a little meter reader here.
We do, you know, I've thought about that because
What? Are you serious?
I do think on this mattress, it's important that the user, if you're using this style, and it's not just us, Sea to Summit does something similar. I think even
yeah,
Big
but
Agnes
theirs weighs like 80 pounds.
it is, yeah. So they're not, but they use that same style. All this style that has these little dots, the softness needs to come from here.
Yeah,
that's not
sure.
the right enough. It's not the right
all right.
softness. This is
Okay,
probably not
you
the
know
style.
what? Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna try this. I'm gonna take this out again. I'm gonna give it another shot. Okay, because this went from like the best mattress in the world to Dan Becker did not like it because he hurt his hips.
Because he's wrong.
So I'm gonna trust him on it. I'm gonna take it out one more time, and we're gonna try it out, and I will report back.
I think it's worth a try really hard. If you blow it up really hard and then you get on and you're like, it's just too firm, then you already know.
Yeah.
Then
okay.
you already
all right.
know.
All right. Fair
Then
enough.
you already
Fair.
know it's not.
Do you make rectangle ones too, or
It's
no?
funny you say that. We're coming out with a rectangular
Really?
one.
Okay.
Yeah. This mattress has sold for us 10 times more than any of our other mattresses.
Why?
So we've been.
Why is that?
Because it's so good.
Okay. Okay. Fair enough.
And I think it just came out this year, and it's got a weight, and it's got the right blend of weight and R value, and no one else has done anything this soft. But this one is coming out next year in a fully rectangular version.
All right.
Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool.
Both this and the Ultralight, actually.
Yeah.
All right, are we done, or do you want to see the down?
I want to see
talk about
I
down?
want to see the down. I have never wanted to see down more in my entire life. Down is probably the most exciting thing in the world.
So we showed 2 things here. One is the Becker Bed, and the other one for the Ultralight community is...
Yeah, the Ultralight nerds
are going to like it. This is not goose down, and it is not duck down, although it kind of is duck down.
Liar!
Because it's a different kind of duck.
It says.
So the problem with goose down is that it's super expensive. And the problem with duck down is, one of the problems is you can't get really high fill power. So the highest fill power that you can really get out of duck down is 850, and that's really pushing it with a duck down. But ultralighters want higher fill power down, but the goose down is super expensive. This is a new species of duck that hasn't been used for down production before, because it's only now being adopted as a large enough food source to be able to get down from. It's called a muscovy duck, and it produces here we're going to fill your backyard.
Yeah, fill it.
Very larger than a goose, clusters of down. And here, hold some. Don't eat it though.
Yeah.
And I've been trained on the names, but I didn't pay attention. So I don't know what the little legs are or what the little fuzzy things are, but it's got much larger plumes than down. And each one of the little, I guess, tentacles, the guys who trained me are going to be so mad, has more fuzz on it.
So it's not a duck, it's not a goose, it's an octopus. Boo! Boo!
I don't like that at all.
It's a muscovy duck. They're free-range ducks that are they're only being bred for food in a certain area of China, and it allows you to produce 900 fill. It's extremely clean.
Oh.
It's hard to, all that texture to it makes it hard to clean, so it needs to be ultrasonically cleaned, which makes the down extremely clean in its processing. The most important thing is ultralighters can get up to 900 fill power at about 1/3 of the cost of goose down. So our $450, this is $450 in goose down, 900 fill power goose down Expedry. It's going to be next year. We're going to offer the exact same quilt in muscovy down next year for, I can't even remember, $350, $339, a significant
Did you just
savings.
let the duck out of the bag?
Yeah. We're going to be, what does the guest do when he does that? Do we just stand here politely?
Oh.
Just pretend it's funny.
Somebody laughed. Somebody.
No, it's pretty exciting because it really is like a new material that we don't know that much about. It's very springy and resilient, and there's just a lot to like about it and be excited about. And
so
we can't make huge claims now because we don't know, but we feel like there might be a durability benefit compared to other. Definitely, it relofts quicker than goose and duck down.
Okay.
Because it's so springy.
Yeah. Okay.
And so there may be some other benefits to it as well.
Is anybody else using this that you know of?
No. Nope.
Wow.
You're gonna see it because of the price of goose down now. People are gonna start using this. We won't be the only ones using muscovy down. We're just the first ones who have kind of figured it out and done all the testing. And
no, that's great.
Got to send Reese over there.
I love stuff like this because this makes ultralight down. You know, it makes it more attainable for people, for sure.
More approachable. So it is it does allow you to get that higher fill power without having to be, people complain. I don't know if you've heard about the price of these ultralight quilts.
Oh,
All the YouTubers are like, the most expensive stuff on the internet.
Exactly.
So
you can buy a Tesla or this.
Right.
Which one do you want?
Right. Yeah, exactly. So I think it'll help make, that premium price position, and those people who really want the lightest possible thing without it being a $600 bed, because it's a $450 quilt and then there's a $150 sheet. So it's a $600 bed for an ultralight bed. And it's a lot. So we do have the exact same build, just so people know, in our light bed, which is a couple $100 less and only 4 or 5 ounces difference.
Yeah.
And then if you go to the core bed, it can be, so for adding a little bit more weight, you can make them a lot more approachable in terms of the price. Muscovy down. You'll be hearing more
muscovy. You're going to hear about the muscovy.
If you look them up, they've got they grow weird things on their beaks.
They're weird looking ducks.
They are weird ducks.
It's a weird duck.
Weird free range duck.
Yeah, where Emma's going to find a picture and put it right here. So yeah, I've heard people complain about the price of, but then those are the people that are also not able to sleep at night, I feel like, right? I don't know. If I'm going to spend my money anywhere, expensive, really expensive, and get the biggest bang for my experience, I think it's sleep, because, people complain about sleep. Whenever they come back, that's what you hear, right? I didn't sleep good. Whatever.
That's right. And it's worth it, and they last forever, right? So they're designed to really last for a lifetime. So when it does make sense to invest in a good sleeping bag. Now, whether you need people ask me, should I get an ultralight bed? And most of the time I say, probably not. It's a lot more for a very slight gain. So that's why in our light bed we use 20D and 800, which is kind of the best bang for your buck in terms of weight, and it's kind of that sweet spot where you get all the lightweight, but you're not into the crazy money. So
okay. Yeah, this is great. I'm a believer. I've been a believer for a while. So this is great stuff. Where can they find Zenbivy?
Go to zenbivy.com or any of our international sites.
Cool. All right. Well, this has been great. Thanks, Mike, for being here. Appreciate you.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we'll see you in the next one.
The backyard.